Well, this comes as no surprise. Android camera app bug lets apps record video without permission. A new vulnerability has been found in camera apps for millions, if not hundreds of millions, of Android devices that could allow other apps to record video, take pictures, and extract GPS data from media without having the required permission. Android apps expose various intent or functions such as the ability to take a picture that can be executed by other apps on the device. In order to execute an exposed intent, other app has to have the needed permissions. In a coordinated disclosure with Google and Samsung, researchers from the Checkmark disclosed today that a new vulnerability that has allowed apps to take pictures, record videos, or get a device location, even if they do not have permissions to do so. The vulnerability, known as CVE 2019-2234, is known to affect the Google camera and Samsung camera apps if they have not been updated since July 2019. Well, I would say this comes as a surprise, but it's not a surprise to me. I think it's pretty clear right now that we're in a state, I mentioned this in my last video when I was talking about TikTok. If you missed that, there should be somewhere here a little tab for that. But we are in a state of surveillance capitalism. In fact, I don't even like to use the word capitalism. We can call it surveillance state crony capitalism. It's not real capitalism, where people are voluntarily giving their information. In this case, it's not even volunteering. This is straight neglect. It's criminal. They're stealing your data, and a lot of this data is very valuable towards them. You know, data is the new oil. And I implore you, doesn't matter who you are, that privacy is going to get more and more important. You see the boiling pot around the world. You see that things are heating up. You're having issues in Hong Kong, issues in Bolivia, issues in Venezuela, issues in Argentina, issues in France, big political divide in the United States between the left and the right. We have something similar in Canada, not to that extent, but more and more people are using social media, or let's say the internet and social media, as a medium for communication. And through their means of communication, they're exposing a shit ton of data, and this data is used against you. It may not be used against you today, but it may be used against you in the future. Who knows that maybe one day you're talking about a certain political party and they use that against you for the future. Or they realize, and there's been real case studies on this, they realize that you have a certain health, there's a certain health defect with you, or I won't say defect, but you have a certain condition, and all of a sudden your insurance is canceled or your insurance premium goes up. You're like, what the fuck? What gives? Right? Or if you're in another country, like you're in a dictatorship where your sexual preference comes out, you could be literally killed. And so I kind of want to lay out some simple things you can do. Like, this isn't bulletproof, but these are things that you can do today, right now, that offer you at least some base level privacy. It's not bulletproof, but at least something. You know, something is better than nothing. It's always good to go from 0 to 1, as Peter Thiel talks about. And it's always good to use a Kaizen model. So it's a compound effect. How can you improve aspects of your life 1%? And this is a compound effect. You know, 1% per month, it adds up. So first, simple things that you can do. Look at this. They even have the actual thing over here. I'll get to that afterwards. But first simple thing that you can do for privacy is, most people use Chrome or they use Firefox. I prefer Firefox over Chrome. I still use Chrome for some business aspects. For my personal search that I do online, I use 2 browsers. I would use, well, 3 if you want to get really technical. So I'll use Brave. So Brave is a crypto browser. It blocks ads and it has decent privacy features. Then I would use Opera. And so Opera has a built-in VPN, which I'll be getting to a second. And then finally, I would use Tor or Onion Network for other stuff. And so what's good about the browser, at least, whether you're using Firefox or you're using Opera, I would recommend Opera for people at the beginning, but because at least Opera has a built-in VPN, virtual private network. And so if you guys are wondering why it's important to have a VPN, is that's how they track your activity. They track through the IP. So your internet provider that you're connected to has a certain internet protocol, which is a bunch of numbers. That's kind of, think of it as digital identity that represents you online. And that's how they put cookies towards you. That's how they put the trackers towards that. That's your identity where you go online, and they track that. And so basically, if you haven't been to China or if you haven't been to certain countries, VPNs are mandatory. There's actually no way of you communicating with people other than using VPN. So at least Opera has a VPN built into it. Now, there's a bunch of other options for VPNs. One option I use is this one, IPVanish. It's a simple one. There's a shit ton out there. This is the one I personally use. They're okay. It does the job. You know, I'm not looking for like crazy protection, but this thing is on my phone and it's on my computer. So use a good different browser. So Opera, Firefox, or Tor Onion. Use a VPN. The next things that you guys want to do is when it comes to email. So most people use Gmail. I'm not against Gmail. I use Gmail for a lot of things, but let's say I'm talking to my relatives, or I'm talking about sensitive medical stuff, or I'm talking about stuff that I just want people to fucking know. I would use Proton Mail. So that's a PGP encryption mail. It's free. You can go check that out. There's other providers out there, but Proton Mail is a good one. And so that's one thing. So that's email. Next thing that I would do is most people will use certain messenger apps. I know people think WhatsApp is encrypted, but I don't buy it. It's owned by Facebook. People will use Telegram. I just don't buy it. The one that I prefer to use is Signal. So the one caveat though, no matter which encrypted, in quotations, app they use, end-to-end encryption is one-to-one. Anytime that you're one-to-many, meaning you're in a group, it's not fucking encrypted whatsoever. That's not encrypted. Encrypted is P2P, person-to-person, end-to-end encryption. So use an app like Signal. There's another one like Keybase. Those are good. Okay, so what do we cover? We have the browser, we have the VPN, you have the email like Proton Mail, and you have app like Signal. The next step that you can take is a simple security feature, just for your own security and privacy as well, is 2FA, so two-step verification. The reason why two-step verification is good, it at least adds a physical limitation when it comes to people taking your identity or pretending to be you, whether you're in the crypto space, people hijacking your stuff in exchanges, or whether, you know, online banking, or using your identity to coerce your accounts online. So what 2FA is, for example, you go to a website and the website will ask a certain code. Usually it's about 6 digits. You have about 45 seconds to put in the 6 code digit. And there's a couple of programs you use. Most people use Google Authenticator. There's other ones called Authy. Depends on the service that you're using, which one they'll connect to. But what's really good about that is even if your phone gets ported, since the Google Auth or the 2FA app, it's rooted into the phone. So even if they port your number, they're not porting your 2FA. So even if they get your name and address, if they get your username and password, they still need your 2FA. And you can even take a step beyond that without the app. You can use, I don't have it on me, but you can use something called a YubiKey. Actually, I do have it on me. I do have a YubiKey. You can use a YubiKey, which is a physical hardware device for a 2FA. So it looks like this. And basically, Facebook has this actually, and you can use it on your phone. So if you guys look at that, it'll ask you for the 2FA for the phone. You put that against your camera on the phone. This acts as a security feature. And if you're using Facebook, Google, anything like that, they're going to ask for your 2FA physical key. So you plug that into USB or you put that to your phone. This adds a next layer of security. Okay, like these things, like I said, it's not bulletproof, but it's pretty much things that are almost free. 90% of things that I mentioned are free. Opera is free. Brave is free. These VPNs are like, I don't know, $20 a year. So it's like $5 a month or something like this. I think this YubiKey $60. I think this is the Neo YubiKey, I believe. Yeah. It's the Nano Neo YubiKey. There's a bunch of them. They all do the same job. But I don't think so. I'm missing anything else. I think those are like the basic stuff that anyone can do. Bottom line is, even if you're not protecting yourself right now, even if these steps might seem too much for you, at least get educated. Be aware of these things. Like, listen, the apps on your phone, they collect data. This data is sold off to the highest bidder. It is the new oil. Data is oil. You want to protect yourself. You want to protect your freedom of speech. You want to protect your identity. You want to protect your sovereign right as a human being not to be exploited. So I'll leave you at that. If you guys have any questions about this, any questions about privacy, please leave a comment below this video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and share this video. If you found value in this, share it, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.